and call the November 4th meeting of Sacramento Housing Redevelopment Commission to order. Because the meetings are currently being held remotely, options for comment include comments may be emailed to publiccomments@shra.org, and they will be read into the recording during the meeting. Comments may also be made by phone by dialing 888-970-1444 to comment during the citizens' comment agenda item. Please call after the roll call has ended. To comment on a specific agenda item, please call at the beginning of that agenda item. We request that all commissioners and staff participants keep their microphones muted unless they're speaking. And due to the fact we're using Zoom meetings, I will be asking for comments from each member or looking for you to wave your hands or bounce in your chair after each staff presentation. And commissioners and staff should use the raise hand features if they can find it there for recognition at other times. With that, we'll go to roll call. And I guess you're doing that, Lyra?
Yes.
Okay.
Alcalay.
Here.
Boyd. Griffin. Morgan.
Here.
Nunley. Osmani.
Here.
Stajabu.
Here.
Starks. Wu.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right. Thank you, Lyra. Are there any changes to the agenda that anyone is aware of other than the fact that we will not be hearing item 5 tonight? Seeing no waving hands or anything, the agenda is set as printed with the exception of item 5. Citizens' comments. Anyone interested in submitting public comments? You may submit them to publiccomments@shra.org or call 888-970-1444 or raise your hand if you're in the Zoom meeting. Lyra, could you read the public comment paragraph, please?
Sure. While the commission welcomes and encourages participation in the commission meetings, please limit your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. SHRA provides opportunities for the public to address the commission at this time in order to listen to opinions regarding non-agendized matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of SHRA. Consistent with the Brown Act, the public comment periods on the agenda are not intended to be question and answer periods or conversations with commission members. Members of the public with questions are encouraged to contact staff before or after the meeting. Because meetings are currently being held remotely, options for comment include: 1, comments may be emailed to publiccomments@shra.org, and they will be read into the recording during the meeting. 2, comments may also be made by phone by dialing 888-970-1444. To comment during the citizens' comments agenda item, please call that number after roll call has ended. To comment on a specific agenda item, please call at the beginning of that agenda item.
All right, thank you. Do we have any public comment or people wishing to speak?
Not yet.
All right, that takes us on to Karen Wallace.
Good evening, Chair Morgan and SHRA Commissioner Board. How are you all this evening?
Thank you.
Good. I always get excited when I have the opportunity to present to you, because usually I'm bringing you something really exciting. And so tonight, I'm especially excited because after talking to this person today, I learned that they are what I call a grand slam. You know, we have people who come through our resident training program, and some of them just do that. Some of them are in FSS. Some of them get their checks or they go buy a house. But after talking to this young lady, she not only started her journey with SHRA in the resident training program, but when she graduated from that, she joined our FSS program. When she got done with that, she became an employee of SHRA. And I'm gonna save the last piece for her to tell you all about that on her own. So with that, I am excited to introduce to the Commissioner Board, Tammy Southward.
Well, thank you, Karen and the Commissioner Board. I just want to say a little bit about how grateful I am for SHRA and all the programs that they offer, which I have gotten pretty much involved in all of them. But the FSS program in particular has been a program that has allowed me to acquire monies in a savings escrow account that I would never be able to acquire without that program. And it has allowed me, at the end of the program, I was in it for like 3.5 years, and then I became over income, which is a good thing because that's what the program's all about, is getting you families towards self-sufficiency. And I was able to buy a house full of new furniture because I plan on buying a modular mobile home with the money that I acquired from the FSS program. And in that home, I plan on putting that new furniture that I already have right now into the home. So I am just ready and excited to get going with this whole opportunity that the FSS program has offered me. And I just want to give many, many thanks for the opportunities that has been given me. And I do talk to my clients about the FSS program every time that I take in an application and do fingerprints, because I think it's just so wonderful that there's something like this out there for people like myself that we can get involved in and just come up in life.
And thank you so much for your participation in the program. You've been a joy for us to work with. And she's one of the people who actually lived at Twin Rivers. And
Yes.
So she's out of Twin Rivers right now. And so I was asking her, oh, you excited to go back to Twin Rivers? She was like, I'm buying myself a house. I was like,
yes.
now that's the way you do it. Tammy, thank you so much for coming on tonight and for sharing with our Commissioner Board. Do any of you want to ask any questions of Tammy or anything?
Michael usually is really good for a comment or two.
I always am, right?
Yes, you are.
Sam, you need to smile when I say that. No, really, every time Karen comes forth, huge smiles. And now that she's launched herself into space, it's always grateful to hear the actual stories, because sometimes we get caught up in the commission policies and the reviews. And hearing these stories just kind of reinforces for me the great deeds that the people that we're helping are achieving, succeeding, and making a difference in their lives. And I'm just, not that I can say we as a commission are responsible for that, but to be able to say we're a part of that, and for sharing your story and what you're about to accomplish even more is just excites me. And I would think the rest of the commission as well. So congratulations, keep up the good work. In spite of it all, we're all going to continue to move forward and do good things together.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. He always speaks for all of us on these things. Then we all get to say a few more words. Anybody else want to jump in there, Tim?
I just want to say ditto to what Mike said, and Tammy, we're all rooting for you. And we're in tough times right now, and to have some good news is always a good thing. It's like medicine to the soul. So keep on keeping on.
Yes.
Anybody else?
I just want.
Go ahead.
I just want to say congratulations, and you're doing great work. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Tammy, for showing people that you can do when you want to do. And I think that's what it's all about, is the I can do this attitude. And it's great having you on tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you, Tammy. And I just really also want to say, how excited we are that Tammy has had an opportunity to really take advantage of these great programs here at the agency and make the most of them, and that she is a part of our SHRA family. So kudos to you. Can't wait to see some pics of the new house with all your great furniture. And while you're not going to be coming back to Mirasol, you're moving on to something that you're going to call your own, which is even better. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we'll move ahead to the approval of the minutes. I hope everybody's had a chance to read through those, check for spelling errors, etc.
So move.
Okay. Any objections or corrections? If not, the minutes are approved as submitted. That will take us to business, and we'll start with the approval of the updated Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency and Housing Authority maintenance schedule of fees and charges. And is somebody presenting that?
Yes, Suzette.
Good evening, Chair Morgan and members of the commission. My name is Suzette Hawkins. I'm a project manager for the Housing Authority. Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency created the schedule of fees and charges to list the cost of goods and services that are passed down to the public and or residents. The agency first implemented the schedule of fees and charges in 1983 and has been updating it periodically in subsequent years. The proposed 2021 schedule of fees and charges is intended to return the actual cost incurred by the agency for materials and services performed. The report before you recommends adoption of the attached resolution, which approves the updated Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency and Housing Authority maintenance schedules of fees and charges, and authorizes the executive director or her designee to implement and distribute the revised schedule of fees and charges. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzette.
You're welcome.
Questions and comments of commissioners?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Alclay,
Aye.
Boyd,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Osmany,
Aye.
Stajabu,
Aye.
Starks,
Yes.
Wu.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you. I probably should have asked if there's any public comment on that.
There is not.
Okay, cool. We're good then. Okay, next item is the authorization to submit the 2020 Emergency Solutions Grant Coronavirus Round 2 application to the California Department of Housing and Community Development and amend the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency budget.
All right, good afternoon, good evening, sorry. Celia Iniguez. It's been a long week, but a good week.
Sure.
Hopefully better. For a program manager in the Federal Programs Division of the Development Department. And as you all know, SHRA receives the Emergency Solutions Grant on behalf of the city and the county directly from HUD. And then annually, we also apply to the state, the Department of Housing and Community Development, for additional emergency solutions grant. This year, we applied for, earlier this year, I was before you for the application for the annual grant of about $215,000 and the first round of coronavirus funding as well. And that was $1.1 million. So this coronavirus ESG is for the prevention, preparation, and response to the pandemic. And so just a few weeks after they issued the NOFA, the first round NOFA, they issued a second round NOFA. And that amount is for $3,400,000. And the application we will be submitting includes emergency shelter at about $250,000, rapid rehousing at a little over 2.8 million, outreach at 200,000, and then administration for SHRA at 109,000, which is specified in the grant application. We coordinated these activities, what we will be utilizing these funds for with the city and the county, as well as the continuum of care. And with that, if you have any questions, I'm available.
All right, thank you. Questions of commissioners? Barry, unmute.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. One question, the 200,000 for outreach, that's, as you said, a report will be coming out itemizing, but is that for television, radio, billboard, so forth, in that nature? And if I'm sorry, if it is, don't we as a nonprofit get that free as a PSA that's mandated by the FCC to broadcast that information?
So this grant added a new component, and they wanted to make sure that all of the recipients are advancing racial equity. And so they want to ensure that we are look and analyze who has been identified to the point in time count, who are the ethnic and racial composition of those in the point in time count, and then look at who we are reaching, who are we housing, who are in the different programs. And if there is an imbalance, then we need to make a change to that and so this program, this funding will be to outreach, and specifically they've called out for native tribes as well. So this is the first time we're doing this, literally working, talked with the Continuum of Care, because they have initiated workshops to look at racial equity in the programming throughout the city and the county. And so we'll work together to identify what that really looks like, what that outreach would be. So it's at this point, we need to flesh it out, and we can share that with you. But it's really to make sure that these funds are reaching who they need to be in an equitable way. So the FCC PSA question is a great one. I'll put it in our pocket, and that may be one way that we do outreach, but we're not quite at that point.
Gotcha. Well, that was the second part, following up of the first part of asking where the funding funds would go. I didn't realize outreach was so expensive, but thank you.
And how
if I could,
time.
Sure, Sam.
if I, well, I mean, I'm sure Michael could, chime in on this as well. That 200,000 is nothing. It's probably 2 campaigns. The FCC piece, the free public services is really not, you don't have control of it. You don't have the ability to ask for what you want. You can't pinpoint and build metrics on a campaign that, you're getting for free. And this is, when I think about 200,000, it's okay. It's not a lot. I mean, it's kind of what I did at SMUD in part. And I'm sure, Mike, you might want to chime in here as well, that, that 200,000, if it's all TV, if it's online, if it's supporting groundwork, ground campaigns, you'll find that it'll go really quickly. And especially as you spread it out to First Nation outreach, it will, go really quickly. And then if you start looking at, what segments are disproportionately impacted, then you'll further want to focus that in certain customer segments and markets. I'm thinking Black and Brown, low income, especially in Sacramento, the Brown community has really been impacted disproportionately, even more so than the African American community. So, Mike, I'll shut up and let you add to it if you want.
All I have to, Sam, you hit the nail on the head with that one. 200,000 is not a lot of money in the advertising world, and really, you're probably not going to go the old traditional ways of TV, radio, newspaper, because obviously there is no really newspaper delivery. I mean, I would see this more as marketing collateral materials that you hand out because you don't want to, but again, I'm not the guy in charge of any of this. I'm just saying, you're really going to have to narrow in how you're going to spend this money to reach the people you want to reach. And maybe online isn't going to be the best tool. So you just have to be creative. I call it your guerrilla marketing tactics, your non-typical ways, which typically are lower cost, but you're actually touching people.
I think we anticipate working with our various partners and our community partners, the nonprofits that are out in the communities that can help us identify what are the most effective methods. And you're right, it may be a variety of different things, but really working with our partners to make sure that we're allocating resources appropriately. And it could be working with them to provide them the resources to do that. We may not be the most effective to deliver it. So we're keeping it very open and try to be very collaborative in the effort.
All right. Any other questions? Lyra, do we have any public comment or emails?
We do not.
All right, thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
Wu and Abu. Okay, Lyra, roll call, please.
Alcalay,
Aye.
Boyd,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Osmani,
Aye.
Stajabu,
Aye.
Starks,
Aye.
Wu.
Aye.
The motion carries.
All right, thank you. That takes us to the third item, the Capitol Park Temporary Emergency Shelter Summary Report. Staff presentation on that.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mary Liz Paulson, and I'm the Assistant Director of Homeless Initiatives. And I am not going to let Karen be the only one to have really good news tonight. So I'm excited to share information about Capitol Park Hotel today. So tonight we'll be talking about Capitol Park Temporary Shelter. This is actually, I'm introducing this to you, but the shelter has closed. And so this is more of a wrap up. We'll be talking about what happened and the good work that happened there. So we had 428 guests, that's homeless guests, stay at the shelter there for over the past 13 months. And so we're going to meet some of the shelter guests and hear about how the Capitol Park Hotel impacted them. Capitol Park Hotel was built in 1912 and was operating as a 180-unit single-room occupancy residential hotel located in downtown until it was sold to Mercy Housing California in July of 2019. At the time, Capitol Park Hotel was at 50% occupancy. Most of the folks who were living there were long-term residents, and they lived in about 80 of the 180 rooms. Mercy Housing was planning to apply for tax credit funding, and the city recognized the opportunity to utilize Capitol Park Hotel's vacant rooms as a temporary shelter for the many unsheltered individuals sleeping on the streets of downtown. This signaled the beginning of a new partnership. The city of Sacramento leased Capitol Park Hotel and asked SHRA to oversee the Capitol Park temporary shelter. The city provided $9.6 million to modify the space and oversee and operate the shelter. SHRA contracted with John Stewart Company to collect the rent from the long-term residents. There were also 6 commercial businesses there on site, and to oversee the various vendors that were needed to maintain the building. This was supposed to be a short-term or 90-day gig, but we kept asking them to stay longer and longer to assist. Now John Stewart is still involved paying the last of the bills. It ended up not being a short-term job. SHRA contracted with Sacramento Steps Forward to manage the front door to the shelter by receiving referrals from 3 groups, primarily the Impact Team, the Downtown Sacramento Partnership, and the Downtown Navigators. Volunteers of America was brought in to oversee the daily operations of the shelter. SHRA did some minor modifications to the building to create the secure entry to the building with an office to check in the homeless guests and the long-term residents as they came and went from the building. This is the old office, and you can see it's in the midst of renovation, and it looked much better, but this is part of the 100-year-old building. While there, John Stewart Company oversaw the repairs to the heating system and the HVAC system, but still residents got blankets in the wintertime and fans in the summertime. There were 2 elevators there on site. One didn't work. There were plumbing conditions as pipes were original cast iron. This picture shows one of the pipes that we had to remove when we couldn't figure out why the water wasn't flowing throughout the hotel. This was for fresh water, but it was just built up with sediments. The guests put up with the old building and its challenges with very little comment. They had 3 meals a day and a safe place to stay at night. Here's what one of the guests had to say about his stay there.
It was good. It was bad. The place was 100 and something years old, and pretty much everything in there was 100 and something years old. But it kept me out of the cold.
And I think that's what was important. The guests recognized that the alternative and were really appreciative of being in the shelter. The intent of Capitol Park Hotel was to provide shelter for homeless persons sleeping in the downtown or midtown area. This map shows where the guests reported they slept the night before coming into Capitol Park Hotel. You can see on the map that the vast majority of the guests came from downtown and midtown. We asked our guests how they became homeless, and here are their answers. We also asked how long they'd been living on the streets so we could determine if they were chronically homeless or episodically homeless. HUD defines chronically homeless as individuals who are homeless, unsheltered, disabled, and who had been living on the streets for 12 months or at least 4 occasions in the past 3 years, which totaled over 12 months on the street. It's not surprising to see that the more folks who reported being chronically homeless said that they had become homeless due to drug and alcohol, mental health, and medical conditions, as opposed to those who were not chronically homeless, who reported being kicked out of family or friends' homes or evictions. This chart shows how many guests were admitted to Capitol Park Hotel monthly. You can see that initially we were adding guests as the hotel opened on September 3rd. After this, we admitted guests as there were turnover. Now you can see how many guests were staying there nightly. Our regular occupancy stabilized at about 115 guests every night. That was as much as the building could handle. We had the homeless guests who were there as well as the residents, and it really stretched the building to its capabilities. When we stopped adding guests with the advent of COVID, or when COVID started, we moved folks from from double room occupancy to single room occupancy for social distancing. As residents moved out, it freed up some additional rooms, and so you'll see there's a little bit of a jump as we were able to bring in more folks to fill up what was the more beds that became available. Staff at the shelter were continuing to balance quarantining new guests that were coming in off the street with really trying to utilize every bed that was available. Then in June, when Mercy received the tax credits, we stopped receiving referrals into the shelter so that we could focus on helping as the folks that were there, the guests, move into permanent housing. And that became the focus. As you see, the numbers continue to fall there. Here's some information about the guests that were there. You can see that age, gender, and race reflect the community. Consistently, 75 to 80% of the guests self-reported that they were disabled. That was always surprising to me that it was that high, especially noting that the hotel didn't have good elevators and folks had to be able to use the stairs to go up and down. But even still, we had 80% of the folks consistently reporting a disability. About 50% reported that they had a mental health disability. About 50% reported that they had a substance abuse problem. Both of these were thought to be seriously underreported. This report shows how long guests stayed at the hotel, broken into two groups, those that moved to permanent housing and those that didn't. You can see it's interesting to see that there's kind of a sweet spot here for those that moved to permanent housing, somewhere between the 2 and 4 month range. And then they were able to move into permanent housing as opposed to over here, we had these folks, we know based on our experience with them, they just needed a whole lot more services and we're waiting for housing to become available in permanent supportive housing, but there just isn't enough stock for the folks that need the additional services. So let's talk about rehousing. I mentioned 149, well, let's start over. 428 guests were at the shelter over the 13 months. 165 of them did not return to the streets. 149 moved into permanent housing. And that's something that we're all really proud of. That's a big deal. 16 families moved into temporary housing, and those were housing situations like clean and sober living facilities, transitional housing, or they moved in with family and friends. For the 149 that moved into permanent housing, we paid 6 months of rental assistance while working with them to develop an income stream. I think it's really important when we talk about rehousing and the success that it's not just putting someone into housing, but it's providing the staffing support as they're making that transition. Staff from VOA was very involved with folks, preparing them to move out and then helping support them when they made that transition. And that was critical in preserving the housing situations. So let's listen to Kevin tell his story about rehousing.
2016, 2017, it started kind of going downhill a bit. Okay. You know, but like I said, I had some tough times. Being homeless, it was, you know, going from place to place, being, you know, but I survived, and boy, like I said, they came along at just the right time, just the right time. I felt like I was in the right place, and they definitely made me very comfortable. So I commend the whole staff, 100% thumbs up. My goal was to be out by my birthday, which was July 14th. And it was only like 3 days after my birthday, and I had an appointment one day, and I came back from my appointment, and I think it was Kamisha. She was like, "Kevin, you're gonna be moving." I was like, "Sure." She said, "Yeah, the place you left at." I said, "Yeah." She said, "You like that?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, you're gonna be moving in there." And here I am. It's a very nice home, and we do our part as far as keeping the house clean. And, you know, we water the lawn every day, and between me and Ed, we keep the place up pretty good.
And he's talking about moving into housing. One of the things that works for most of the folks, a lot of the folks, is moving into what we call shared housing, where people rent a room in a house. And so that's what he was able to do. But you can't miss the sense of pride in talking about taking care of the house and watering the yard every day. So he's doing very well. I also want to mention that Capitol Park Hotel was a shelter for adults, but we are changing lives and the lives of children also. We have 2 families, 2 households where the adults were staying in the shelter, and they have now been reunited with their children. We have 2 other adults from the shelter that are working and will have their children reunited very soon also. So that is something to be really, really pleased, and I'm happy to be part of that, to share in that. We have a couple of other stories, just quickly stories. These are two people at the shelter. Abigail talks about becoming homeless at the age of 17.
When I was 17, I decided to leave home just because it wasn't the safest situation for me. And my mental health got really bad and my dad wasn't very supportive with that. And so I decided to leave home and moved in with my grandparents. And shortly after that, I moved in with my best friend to graduate high school. And I graduated high school. I moved back in with my grandparents until I was 18. And then on my 18th birthday, my grandparents kicked me out. And ever since then, I've been in shelters, housing programs, anything I can really get my hands on so I don't really have to go back to the streets. I need to stop what I'm doing. I need to focus on what I'm doing. I'm 19. I can't be in the streets. I need to get a job, get into a shelter, and start doing better for myself. I got in contact with the coordinator and he got me into Capitol Park the same day that I met with him. Actually, staff here signed me up for a job fair when I was staying here. And they got me, there was a place called Therapeutic Pathways on the job fair. And it's a therapy place for autistic kids. And I applied and I actually got the job. And so I'm registered. I'm in the middle of being a registered behavioral technician.
And I'm happy to say she's still working. She has gotten a job as employed and is doing well.
I had a home. I've raised 7 kids. We had a nice home and everything. And then I was married and my husband passed away, and I had to get on my own. So I kept on trying to move and trying to get in places, but it didn't work out a few places. So I'm homeless about going on 24 years.
Good. So here are two examples. We've got both ends of the spectrum. We've got somebody very young and someone who's later in life who is just starting her life and was homeless, and someone who has been on the streets for over 24 years. So, and they are all housed. This is just showing quickly some of our funding. And at this point, we are looking to remain in budget, so within our budget. We look at the categories. We have staff oversight. That includes, we have one person who was placed at Capitol Park Hotel full-time. The property repairs are mostly those that were initially needed to convert the hotel to a shelter. And then property management is John Stewart, as we mentioned, and their costs were offset by the revenue that they took in. Shelter operations is the day-to-day operations, the rehousing that we're talking about, and maintaining the building. This was a really heavy lift. We moved very quickly to launch the shelter, but it couldn't have happened without lots of really dedicated folks. Sacramento Steps Forward, Volunteers of America, John Stewart, and then lots of folks from all different departments here at SHRA to make that work. So any question? That's the end of this presentation, but tonight you're going to hear about Capitol Park Hotel. So we're going to segue in a minute into kind of the next chapter.
All right, any questions from commissioners?
Well, I just want to say, if I could, Mr. Chair, that that's some really fine work. I have been on record as saying that we don't do this job alone. We have to work in collaboration. And, the end game is not necessarily housing. We're bringing these families and trying to help them, but housing is, for some, the end game, and for others, it's only the beginning. It's the means. It's not the end. And I'm wondering from staff, Mr. Chair, if they've worked with DHA or any of the county agencies in, does that factor into their long-term services to support? And I'll take it offline.
Mary Liz?
Good. Yes, County Behavioral Health was on site providing services. We had folks providing services from alcohol and other drugs. We had all sorts of services. I had a whole slide that I left out in the interest of time, but listing just all the different groups in the community that were involved. And no one person can touch everybody, no one agency can. And this really works with a partnership with all sorts of community groups that were involved. Sac State came out and did workshops and really engaged the residents and guests and activities also. So,
all right. I think I saw somebody else waving their hand. Michael, did you have a question? Okay. Anybody else? I would like to comment. I think it's very commendable when you can reunite a family. I think that's a very major plus. I'll just say it that way. It's awesome when you can put a family back together functionally. It's a very good thing.
Right.
So,
good. With that, if there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and launch a video that will tell the story of Capitol Park Hotel. It's kind of a transition, so you can see some of the shelter that I mentioned, and we'll go into the tax credit story following that.
Was there anything we needed to vote on the first part?
It was just a report out.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't want to cry, but I feel so blessed. Thank you all for listening and helping me get to where I am now. I'm safe, and this is another chapter. I closed that chapter, and I'm on to a new chapter. So thank you all for just helping me. I can't use hope even know it.
Congratulations, friends. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. My heart. Thank you so much. And ladies, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have a presentation for the next half. I guess I should read the title, Capitol Park Hotel. Approval of loan funds and financial loan documents.
Good evening, Chair Morgan and members of the Commission. Ann Nichols, Management Analyst in Development Finance. The report before you requests approval of loan funds and final loan documents for the Capitol Park Hotel Permanent Supportive Housing Project. In the summer of 2019, the project was awarded over $9.6 million in state No Place Like Home program funds, 134 project-based vouchers to house homeless households, and the city loaned $13.37 million to SHRA, and SHRA in turn entered into a loan agreement with Mercy Housing for the acquisition of Capitol Park and relocation of the 80 residents. In February 2020, Council approved $9.9 million in pre-development construction and permanent financing to Mercy Housing for the rehabilitation of the 180 single-room occupancy units, or SROs, into 134 affordable units with kitchens and bathrooms. Between March to August 2020, the final structural, electrical, and the State Historic Preservation Officers' investigations were completed. These resulted in significant project cost increases, which include reinforced concrete frames and structural steel to provide the building with seismic force resisting systems to resist earthquakes, exterior brick repair and reinforcement, structural shear reinforcement in the floor structure and historic stairwells, increased fire barriers and assemblies, new transformer and new electrical system. In August, the developer submitted a funding application to SHRA requesting a $4.2 million loan to finance the increased scope of development in the project. SHRA construction staff reviewed and approved the additional scope of development and construction budget. Subject to final board approvals, financing from SHRA include an aggregate loan of $13.3 million. Other financing includes federal, state, and historic tax credits, No Place Like Home loans, AHP loan, general partnership contribution, and fee waivers. It should be noted that for each dollar SHRA provides this project, we leverage nearly $5 from other sources. Given Mercy Housing's experience at other homeless permanent supportive housing developments, such as 7th and H and Boulevard Court, Mercy Housing has approved they are qualified to be the developer and manager at Capitol Park. We anticipate the project to close escrow and begin construction in December. In closing, staff is requesting approval of a $13.3 million loan and final loan documents for a Capitol Park Hotel Permanent Supportive Housing Project. Staff is available to address any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Ann. Questions of commissioners? Don't all raise your hands at once. No questions? Okay, well, I think it's a very good program. We've been getting a few reports about it. It has looked good all the way through, and I appreciate the program as it's been laid out and the opportunities we've had with that. Lyra, has there been any public comments on either portion of this report?
No public comment.
Okay, thank you. So with that, I will accept a motion.
So moved.
Motion from Daryl and a second from?
I'll second.
Mr. Javu. Roll call, Lyra.
Alkalay,
Aye.
Boyd,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Osmani,
Aye.
Stajabu,
Aye.
Starks,
Yes.
Wu.
Aye.
The motion carries.
All right, thank you, Lyra. And we are skipping item 5. It's been removed from the agenda. So that takes us to the executive director's report.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. Just a very brief report. Just really wanted to highlight that we had an opportunity to have the virtual groundbreaking for Lavender Court. So hopefully you were able to attend. I'm not sure if we actually have it still on video. I'll check and see. If we do, I will get that out to everyone. It was really so exciting to see us moving forward on that project. As you know, we worked on it for many, many years with mutual housing, but construction is underway. So always glad to see all of the big vehicles come in and start moving dirt. So very glad to participate in that. And then the next thing on my report is that we do have another commission meeting scheduled tentatively for November 18th. So November 18th, please keep that date on your calendar. If we have the items, then we will move forward. If not, we will be moving towards our last meeting of 2020, if you can believe that. Seems like this year has gone so fast and so slow, depending on how you look at it. So we will be having our last meeting in December, which normally would be the time that we get together and we have this Christmas celebration and all the, wonderful acknowledgement of work that's been done. This year, we're going to have to figure out some way to just virtually celebrate our end of year. And we're working on something, but that's my report.
All right. Thank you, Lachelle. Any questions on her report?
No, let's just let 2020 pass, Lachelle. 2020 pass, Lachelle. Let it go.
Let it go. Oh, no complaints from me to let it go.
We're letting it 2020 pass us by.
Well, for the SHRA report, I thought about having a moment of silence for the losers and then a moment of silent jubilation for the winners from last night, but I decided against that. So that's the only thing I had for report from me. Good job, Sam. So with that, items and announcements, comments from commissioners.
Yes.
Sajabu.
Yes, the Lavender Courtyard was a great celebration. And I want to say that I appreciate seeing and hearing the clients that benefit from the work done by the staff of SHRA. And it makes me feel even more proud to be a part of it. So thank you, everybody. Mary Liz, that presentation was the bomb. That was really good. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we all enjoy the success stories from anything that SHRA does.
In fact, Mary Liz and her team and Sarah just have done an outstanding job with Capitol Park. I mean, that the amount of time that it took to get it up and running was just lightning speed and all of the issues, and they just dealt with it all. It's a great model. We're very excited about it. It's moving into its next phase, but I just really want to commend them and all of their hard work. Mary Liz worked countless hours, weekends, nights. I mean, that was her baby. So we're glad that it's moving on to its next phase.
Yeah. Also, hearing the success story from FSS was excellent, and to be able to actually have the person describe what they went through and benefited from it, and to have them still working for us with so much talent and so much energy is amazing. So yeah, keep up the good work, everybody. And I was, when I first heard what you were doing with Capitol Park, I said, oh my goodness, they already have so much to do. I mean, it was so much put on you. How are they going to do this? And I kept watching and it kept getting better and better. So I'm really proud of all of you for doing so much hard work so quickly. And it was one other thing I wanted to tell you. Oh, being able to see Twin Rivers develop on camera every day is excellent. So tell Victoria, I really appreciate that capability. Okay. So it's good to be able to see each segment as it's coming along, because I don't get out that much. So cool, very cool. Thank you.
I know. Every day when I drive in, I always choose that lane all the way over so that I can slow down and take a look. When they were on the 3rd floor of that building, they're already up to floor 3. I was literally clapping and driving and clapping and driving.
I come in on light rail many times and watch, and I sit on the right side of the car coming in just so I can watch, and on the left side going back out if I'm on light rail, because it's been awesome. And when that 3rd floor went up, yeah, I was like, okay, we got to hear something about that soon. So maybe if we have if that meeting on the 18th takes place, we can have a kind of a report, or maybe a quick photo shoot of some of what's happening out there. That'd be cool.
Okay.
Not required, but that'd be cool.
Yeah. If not on the November, if we don't meet, then we could definitely do something in the December.
Sure. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I would say first also congratulations to Lachelle for your leadership, because nothing like this happens without leaders that believe in staff and create space for them to do the good work. But let me channel my inner Michael Alcalay. We have to let people know, right? We have to let people know. We have to make sure that those, I don't know, Sajabu, if that presentation could be something that could find its way on a website, or the video that we saw, so that we are in a political city. We're in a very, and so we have to tell our own story, and we have to, if it's just us that's seeing this, or maybe the people and the residents that are seeing this, that's one thing. But, we have to let folks know that there's some good work being done. And, that'd be great to, to find that place, customer Sacramento facing, so that they can see what SHRA is, so they'll know what we do and why we do it.
No,
good job.
You raise an excellent point. And since you and Michael are twinning today, you're sharing and on the same vibe, I would agree. We always get so busy trying to juggle so many different things that it gets hard to remember to share the stories. But we will.
Good.
Well, just because my name has been shared now 5 times and I haven't reciprocated, I'd like to say to my inner Sam, who is a dear friend, and all the stuff you bring to the table here, and all that everyone around this table does for Sacramento. It's just so hard doing it through Zoom for the rest of us, while the staff at SHRA is actually in the front lines every day in the trenches, doing the work to ensure what we do continues to happen. And so as we sit here on our every other Wednesday night, in the safety of our homes with whatever, we have to be reminded, and I think everybody said it, and I think Sam and Gail have said it well tonight, and we thank you, the entire staff, for being those frontline heroes. So thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say before I adjourn the meeting? Barry. Go ahead, Barry.
Thank you. I concur wholeheartedly with both Sam and Michael. And with that said, Lachelle, do we have promotionals that are aired television or ran on radio in regards to, hey, we're SHRA, this is what SHRA does here in Sacramento?
Yes, it depends on the project and timing. We don't have something I would say that's running continuously, but like in the Sacramento Observer, you'll see there's been articles about our 50th anniversary and the work that we do. The Sac Cultural Hub, there's a series of articles. I think one in the last issue, they did a profile of both Tyrone and myself, and there'll be many more of those coming up. So there's a whole campaign over our 80th anniversary that Angela has been working on. And then we also have an additional person who has been assigned to assist with social media, getting all of this information pushed out via our social media channels. We have amped that up tremendously. so that people are following us more on Facebook and Instagram, all of those avenues we are taking advantage of. But there's still room to do more. In fact, what Stajabu was talking about is what's on our website, you know, so even just going to our website, you can really see some of the good work that's happening.
Oh, that's great. I mean, we know okay, we can find the information. I'm just really amazed by a lot of folks that are in need of SHRA services that don't know what SHRA is and had never heard of SHRA. I mean, that's why I was asking. I mean, certainly I'm not asking for a daily promo run, but is there an outlet where the common person would look up and go, SHRA, you know, they do what? To find that assistance that they're looking for. Because truly, there are folks that they have no clue. I'm like, dude, just go on the website. And then some folks, I got to catch myself. I'm like, wait a minute, can you get online? Through this COVID, it's been a little dicey, but the libraries are opening up again for an hour for each person, I believe tomorrow. Yes, or next Thursday. Maybe it's next Thursday. But anyway, with that said, that's why I was asking, is there some common promotional that just comes out whenever, you know, monthly, weekly, whatever? Hey, SHRA does this. Or can we force it down City Hall and county supervisors' throat to make sure they mention SHRA at every meeting?
In a good way, yes.
In a good way, sorry.
Along the lines of what Barry just said, I got this today, and the wonders of Zoom and backgrounds are going to mess me up here, so give me just a second. I'm gonna let it, whoops, that was not what I wanted.
Well, I just want you to know, Michelle, that I sent that article to everybody in my family all over this country. They have that 80th anniversary article. So these are the people that I volunteer with, and I'm proud to be a part of this. So I've been getting great responses, getting phone calls from people. That's great. Wow, we need one of those in our city and all that, you know.
Yes.
So
yes.
This I found on my door this afternoon. I don't know where it came from, but it was rolled up and stuck on my door at the office. There.
Yeah, it's in the Observer.
Trying to do a mirror.
Wanted poster there.
It's in the Observer.
Oh.
It's an insert in the Observer, but I'm not sure. Has any of the other commissioners, Lyra, do you know? Have we sent it out to the commissioners?
Mm-mm.
Okay, we'll get that out to you because we have extras, so we'll make sure we get that out to you. But that's what I was talking about. We have a whole campaign around our 80th anniversary, and that's one of those, and it will stretch from now through next year because it travels both years. So yeah, and Angela really has been working hard and putting together a lot of great resources to get that out as to who we are and the fact that we have been around for 80 years.
Yeah.
And the work that we do.
So I was surprised when I saw it and thought, wow, everybody got a copy. A lot of times we think when we talk to somebody about who SHRA is, it involves 1/3 of what SHRA is with that person we're talking to, because they're talking about community development, or they're talking about redevelopment, or they're talking about housing. And rarely do you get a chance to sit there and put all three together. And I think projects like the Capitol Park Hotel kind of gets to encompass more than one aspect and gets to show off who SHRA is in a broader scope. So it's one of the reasons I've been behind that, and the amount of good it did is, of course, the biggest reason I've supported that. Any other comments?
One quick one, Gail. It's fantastic for the 80th anniversary, and it twins Sam Starks, same anniversary for him and the SHRA. Good job, Sam. You look not a day over 60.
I am 60. Thank you, Barry.
All right, with that, we will adjourn the meeting. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
That's fair.